Hello, hello, everyone. Billah! It's been a long and exhausting week, and I'm all ready to go with condiments for the evening. Hello to everyone watching. Tonight, we got soda, mineral water, we got tea, and we got not one, but three slices of amazing cucumber. Blob says it feels illegal being this early. Jumpy Joltik says, can't wait to see you at DinoCon. I can't wait to see you either. I'm working full scale ahead for DinoCon. Today I had postcards printed at great expense, and I will have original watercolors, but for the more budget conscious and for the more younger people, I have hundreds of postcards of all my paleo artworks printed. And I'm just getting ready, never a dull moment. Just going to pack all of these in, carry them to the UK. And most importantly, I'm going to have original art from all tomorrows. So there's a rule with DinoCon merchandise saying that it has to be at least 70% paleo themed, which will be so. But the 30%, remaining 30%, are going to be original artwork from all tomorrows. Hello, everybody. Hello, Marcus. Hello, Bleatnik. Hello, Dark Master. Hello, how is it going? Hello, Bandrose. 17 people watching. Great to see you all. I'll just wait for people to percolate, and let's give it a couple of minutes. Call everyone you know. Let them join the fun. It's a Q&A evening tonight. Also, if you're in the replay gang, if you're watching this later, please just consider supporting me on Patreon or maybe going to the merch store. Much appreciated. So I'm going to give you all a couple of minutes, and I'll be right with you. Oh, I'm already here. Just watch me eat this cucumber for a while, then we'll properly launch into things. Unknown says, I'm sad I can't come to DinoCon. I wish I could. Look, I wish I could travel all around the world. Thing is, the country I'm a citizen of, proudly, its passport isn't really good. Even for the UK, I had to jump through lots of hurdles. I would love to come to the United States. There's lots of conventions and events where I think my book and my artwork will be much appreciated. Trouble is, the United States is really like a closed fortress at the moment, even for touristic travel. So, yeah. Marcus Amantrot says, this is my first time catching you live. I have only been able to catch the replays. Well, there's a first time for everything, and 25 people watching. I'm going to give you another minute, then I'll be right back. Opa. Where is DinoCon taking place, says Astromangos. It is taking place in the United Kingdom in the lovely little city of Exeter. So that's that. Oh, I just realized awfully, due to the reflections. Yes, I am wearing boxers. You may have seen me walking around in them, but I can't really be bothered. But yeah, that's that. Hope that's not a blooper. Speaking of bloopers, Rock says, I pre ordered the physical copy. No, refund it. Refund it. If you ordered from Amazon, you need to refund it. The thing is, the publisher collapsed last week. I don't really want to like make a video announcement about this, but the company that was meant to publish All Tomorrows went into huge debt and collapsed. And I really dodged a bullet. Basically, many people were left with debts up to like hundreds of thousands of pounds from the publisher. They're not paying anybody and they went bankrupt. So cancel your order from Amazon immediately. Get a refund. If you pre-ordered through the website, go to my YouTube channel, go to the posts, like the social media posts thing on YouTube, and there's an email you can contact, because now the company owes you a refund. Don't cease and desist. And if you're watching, do not order the book on Amazon.com. That company is bankrupt. If you ordered from Amazon, cancel. Amazon will refund you, so that's a good thing. If you ordered from Unbound or Boundless directly, you need to go to my social media and find the announcement, or go to unbound.com and there's an email there where you can apply for refunds. It's awful. It's really like, it was so bad I even forgot it happened. But yeah, that's a really awful thing, and I'm really sorry to you all. I really didn't want this to happen. I guess I dodged the bullet because the book was receiving an enormous number of potentially interested distributors. And if it had been printed and sold, then the company would have owed me like a huge sum of money, and I would have been forced to litigate in the UK. And if you ever had to litigate in the UK as a non-British citizen, good luck to you. So yeah, that's that. Can I buy? No, nobody can officially buy it anywhere. Don't. I will let you know, because I'm in talk with publishers, proper publishers this time. Just not revealing anything after this fuck up, but fingers crossed, okay? If you come to DinoCon, you will be able to see and buy actual originals from All Tomorrows, including this one, the Herbivores, these are like the Tool breeders, and these are like genuine high quality, like this is all pencil, and it's pencil that's so smooth it's like watercolors. Like, this is a unique technique I developed, and these are all over 20 years old, from the early 2000s. This is just look at the quality of workmanship. So yeah, these, among others, will all be offered for sale in DinoCon. I mean, the original eyes for this painting were black, and then I photoshopped the eyes of a lizard in there. So yeah, we got like something from we got something for expensive collectors, we got something for the casual collectors, just postcards. I will sign them, so they will be signed postcards. And there's a bunch of like dinosaur watercolors that I've been doing. Those will be more like median range priced. And yeah, something for everybody. Vasco says, Naber abi. 815 says, hi Dilf. Hayden says, what is your pencil technique? So it says, I can show you. Look. It will be a very crude display, but bear with me. This is just a piece of paper, okay? Then you got these kinds of watercolors. The Derwent, but other brands also do. These are like water-soluble lead watercolors. So you do something like, I don't know, something like this, okay? Then you just shade it very, very. So you just shade it with the water-soluble watercolors. Then, this is a bit gross, but you actually get, I'm just going to do this once. Normally, I would use my saliva to do this, but actually water diluted with glycerine also works. But I don't have glycerine on hand, so I just lick this brush. What you do then is take a spray of water, soak it, then with your saliva, you shade it. So you see it becomes like smoke. I mean, it's just like this now. So saliva is the magic, says Ansar. Saliva or just water diluted with glycerine, and you can get glycerine from any pharmacy. It has a more thick consistency, which makes it more painterly looking. Like you get this like weird textures that water alone cannot accomplish. But this is only half of the story, and I'm gonna rush it a little, but just bear with me. I'm just gonna dry this now. And this is gonna be very rushed, so there may be mistakes. I'm sorry. Afterwards, you take a proper pencil, maybe even a mechanical pencil. Okay. So you do the very fine edges with the mechanical pencil, okay? You see how I'm working through with this, like almost like more artisanal kind of. Well, this is just something very crude. The paintings for all tomorrows, they would take hours, and I'm taking seconds here. But you basically can give, after the watercolor pencil dries, you can give any texture you want with the mechanical pencil or the non-mechanical pencil. And you can create like finer details and so on and so forth. And normally, of course, I have to wait like an hour or so for this to dry, but you kind of get the idea. Now, there's another tool that's like magic, and it's this sort of like gray eraser type smudger thing that art stores sell. Be careful though. These things come in gray and white. So this is a white one. The white ones are erasers. They don't work. You gotta get the gray goo. You got the goo. You get the goo. You get the goo. Okay, you get the gray goo. What the gray goo does is it helps smudge the mechanical pencil into the paint, the watercolor paint you already laid down. So it becomes like really smooth, and it's like pencil with the consistency of an airbrush or watercolors or gouache, but with very fine details you can control, because then you can do a third pass and add like very small details like hair or scales, or you can do texturing. So, this was very crude, but you kind of get the idea. Gnome's Child says goo is necessary. 35 people watching the goo. Well, I hope this helps. So this is your toolkit basically. Water soluble pencils, goo, mechanical pencils, and just a kind of brush that can hold a lot of water, and saliva or glycerine. Also, you can use these smaller watercolor brushes. These small brushes can really help you get like finer detail. So yeah, that's that. Welcome everyone to the CM Kozeman live stream, where on a sweltering summer night we're having a nice laid-back Q&A session, and I thank you all for your time for coming in. Let's see what everybody. So like, yeah, with that technique you can do stuff like all tomorrows, except that also it helps to use like a heavyweight and smooth cold press paper, so it shouldn't have any textures, and it should be like heavyweight paper, thick, so it dries faster. Oh god, there's like a gust of wind blowing through the door. Okay, that's that. Blake Richardson says, I have a rather strange question about art. Lucarici says, do you know what is Osman Izakumel's Munchturku? I have no freaking idea what that is. Unknown says, how can you draw so perfectly? Well, I mean, this isn't perfect. This isn't perfect. Beige A says, hello. 33 people watching. Wow, you guys are really coming in. Let's get the show on the road. Let me hear where you're from. Let's do the roll call. Where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from? The whole world is waking up to the CM Kozeman extended universe. Beige A is from America. Marcus Armantro from Central Illinois. Lucarici from Jimenez Smooth. That's a Man After Man reference. Marcus from the USA. Lojunko Soros from the US of A. 815 from Minneapolis, Minimin. Silly Mughal from Los Angeles, California. Jumpy Joltik from Belfast, UK. Lux Eterna from Lithuania. Kadir Cem Yilmaz and Unknown are from Turkey. Maja Mladenovic is from Germany. Charlie Calliope Crane is from Laurasia. Blake Richardson from Michigan, USA. A nameless person is from Köln in Germany. Nice. Aussies from Bulgaria, Cambrian Aquarium, originally from Texas, now location undisclosed. Peter Estrada from 6 a.m. in Australia. Wow, man, you're living in the future. Norm's Child is from upstate New York. Arnold says there are a lot of Americans here. I'm really proud about that because shows you, at least shows me I was doing something right to appeal to an international audience. And I did this in my own eccentric way, and it's a really nice feeling. YX from Italy, a nice Mediterranean country. Hayden is from California. Hello, my friend. What should we talk about tonight? Ensar Kır says, you will gain even more recognition. Please write more. Eyes. I will. YX asks, what pickled vegetable is the best? Probably cucumbers. They get saltier. I like pickled stuff when it's salty. And there's a way to do pickles when they also can turn sour or sweet. I don't like that. I like salty pickles. And I like cucumbers more than most. Oh. Pickled cauliflower is so tasty. Yes, that's a nice one too. Blake Richardson asks, every time I draw a picture, it looks like someone trying to imitate your art, but failing very badly. I try to make my art style unique, but it doesn't work. Do you have any tips? Well, I had a similar feeling when I was younger, and I was just trying to draw things like my favorite artists, who were Giger and Barlow. But you have to do your own thing. Like, you just have to work. And eventually, you notice small things that you keep doing, and you just amplify these as behaviors. And then you get a technique of your own. There's really no shortcut to this. You just have to, like, as you draw or paint, you make little mistakes and you actually learn from them. And that's the only way to advance. It will work faster if you work traditionally, because with digital painting, I think it's very sterile. Although there are some people who are like geniuses with digital arts, and I really respect that. But digital technique really decreases the room for error, and it reduces everything into like a extremely controlled iPad baby screen, which is just like, fuck that, like, not for me. So I was busy today. I had this photo bash of a rhamphorhynchoid, a pterosaur that was the size of the biggest pterosaurs. Well, I'll need to explain this. So wait. Pterosaurs come in two main lineages, and the more primitive lineage had teeth. The famous Rhamphorhynchus is an example. Like this guy, okay? So this is a view of that guy on the big screen having evolved into the size of a Quetzalcoatlus. And if you don't know about pterosaur evolution, as pterosaurs got bigger, they lost their teeth. They became even more bird-like. They lost their long tails. Their wings kind of got more robust. And, well, this is what it would be like if one of these guys got to an enormous size, but also kept its characteristics. So this was my photo bash sketch. And today I just went to a cafe after my day job. I also work during days. And I actually fucking drew it with pens and ink. Mega Rhamphorhynchoid pterosaur by yours truly. I think some of the latter pterosaurs still had teeth as cauliflowers. They did, but like this is just an evolutionary fantasy, you know. Let's stamp this. And on my desk, I always have 3 stamps. My name, my signature stamp, which is this. My handwritten signature stamp, and my official name stamp. So we're going to do them all. And then maybe like a simple now this is something you can't do on a fucking iPad. And then yeah, looks very official. I mean, stuff like this is very cheap to make. It's just like about knowing what to do and just sticking with it. And yeah. Marcus Armantrot says, how did you end up doing a TED Talk in Spain? I enjoyed it very much. Habe says, why don't you do stuff in Turkish? This is an export. This is a door for exports. I'm an exporter of culture. You probably know as well as I do what happens to insular people who only write and produce in Turkish. And I don't want to end up like them. If you, as Mustafa Kemal Atatürk said, vatanını en çok seven görevini en iyi yapandır, which means the most patriotic person is he who performs the best in his duty. And if you are in arts or culture or writing or in any sort of creative endeavor, I personally believe that you must appeal to the entire planet. If your horizon ends with like Kars and fucking Edirne, you will be easier to forget. So that's that. Habe says, I get it. Well, I mean, thank you. Once again, there are also like amazing authors in the Turkish language that I really look up to. It's just, I was very lucky. I got an overseas education. And I was introduced to like these niche hobbies with a very early head start. So I just wanted to do my best. Unknown says, Godspeed. Pamwan Dan says, hello, sir. Hello, good sir. How do you view the alien life in the universe? Do you believe in extraterrestrial life? I think yes. There's life on, I think, many planets. But I think many life forms they will look very boring once we get to see them. They will just be like mold or some worms in ice. And on some very rare planets, there will be like macrofaunal life, and those could be crazy. I don't know. But I think it exists, but for some reason, I think monadic intelligences, that is to say, intelligent creatures that build civilization and regard themselves as individuals, they may be very rare, and we may be the only ones in a like very, very, very big parched island of space. Unknown says, I believe in multiverses. I think that's the way the universe works, actually. But here's the wicked thing. there are so many multiverses that trillions of them are just the same thing. Like in one multiverse, this shirt is blue. In another multiverse, I just have one less hair. So there are not many, like in another multiverse, this atom of oxygen moved this way and not that way. And they all interact with each other too. So I think at smaller levels, all these multiverses slip in and out of each other, but we can't really see their effects beyond the quantum scale. Anyways, I'm just blabbing. So that's that. Let's get some more questions, more dialogue. I'm drinking Carrefour Blend Natural Mineral Water with this really nice green, like perfectly grenade-shaped buds. I just like these. I just want to like throw them around and they blow up. Can't do that though. Cauliflower says, is the Carrefour mineral water better than the Beypazarı brand? I think they taste like I only have unflavored mineral water. And I like it. Why are there no Turkish subtitles, says Habe? You can get them later. So you need to wait until this stream is in the live stream tab. And then YouTube has an auto-translate feature, but it doesn't work live. You just need to watch it tomorrow with subtitles. Have you watched Life Beyond 1 and 2, and what are your thoughts? I haven't watched them. What are, like, Life Beyond? Animated series. Is this the Netflix thing? I may have seen this. Oh, yeah, this is like the well-animated but strangely forgettable alien documentary. Everything is like almost looks AI made. It's not AI made, but like I watched parts of this. Let me share it so we get some conversation matter. So this is what aliens look like in Life Beyond. I mean, as an image, it's very close, but if you look a little closer, it's just like a gnarly human being with tentacles, and I think it's cool as like some sort of, like if I was in a club and this was accompanying the music in big screens behind the dance floor, that would be cool. But this as a design, I think I don't want to insult them. It's a bit formulaic. And that was like my main critique. But then again, it's nice to have series like this. And I think this Life Beyond series 1 and 2, I mean, they're like a good gateway drug into proper spec evo. Like if someone just saw this and was interested in the genre, then he or she could have found out about Wayne Barlow's work or stuff like that. So I like it. Heb says they look like deep creatures. They look like deep sea creatures, but those looks like, if you ever left a potato in your fridge for too long, this is what they turn into. Robotippy, my good friend, says hello there. Hello, hello, hello. Gnome's Child says it looks like a Bloodborne mini boss. Maybe never watched it. But yeah, I'll show you Life Beyond. Wait. I mean, sprouting potatoes are literally more interesting than the image we just saw. So yeah, this looks like this is like that alien, huh? If you do this sort of texture with like a knobby, wobbly, badly drawn human body, that's what you get. Primordial Chronicles says, I quoted a part of your book in an upcoming video, and I wanted to ask if you're okay with me. Yeah, please share it. I mean, unless you've done some like Nazi shit or like smut, you can tag me in it. I don't think you're that sort of viewer or fan, so please, I'd be honored. Gnome's Child says the potato's got his eyes on us. Yes, so alien. Tentacles and shit. I did, oh dear. Hello, CM Kozeman, they say. Hello, hello, hello, hello. Never seen you in these parts before, but 42 people watching. We keep appealing to a bigger crowd every day. You're good, of course. Primordial Chronicles, of course. You got my blessings. Don't even have to ask. Thank you. You're very kind. Pan Wan Dan says, how do you view consciousness and its connection with the universe? Some scholars put conscious awareness as simply a byproduct of higher intelligence. So this is my completely intuitive and non-scientific understanding of the world and the universe. I think consciousness is a property of the universe, and it's just like time, matter, and there's also consciousness. And it slips through existence through organized matter as guided by evolution. And that's that. But I think it's like a unique, it's got a unique thingness to it. It's got a unique property to it. And life is just a way for it to bubble into this part of reality. But I think consciousness is like a greater and underappreciated force that permeates the universe. And I mean, call me new agey or like, I don't know. But yeah, because every simulation or like materialistic theory we get, there are things with like your waking existence, this hour, tonight, when you dream tomorrow, everybody has these intuitions that you really cannot account with a purely material understanding of things. Now, of course, like I have a frontal lobe. If I had brain damage, my conversation, the way I talk would change. Even my character would change if I had a different hormone, if I had different low blood sugar. But like that's different from the way you experience things and like you know yourself. I think that's like intrinsic, and it's more than crude matter. I know this to be so. I know it to be so. And so should you. Every living creature, maybe even viruses, they're as intelligent and as self-aware as you and I. Plants, flies, bugs. I mean, I'm not going to bring them over, but I got 2 tubs full of isopods there. You watch them for hours. They talk to each other. They like standing next to each other. Obviously, there's a force of awareness that's hard baked into the very nature of existence itself. and it's exerting itself through life forms. Could be isopods, could be people. It's like an aperture. There's degrees to which it could be opened or closed with different minds, but it's a unique, different force. And this doesn't conflict with a material understanding of science and the world either. I mean, there's not like a woo spirit energy. No, matter is overlaying that which is undeniable. Matter overlies it. So the things of this world happen with the rules of this world. But there's something beyond. Now, I know this to be true, so should you. Marcus Armantrot says, do you have any recommendations for drawing a spec evolution creature around crustaceans? I have been experimenting with concepts around them. Yes, you should get your favorite crustacean group. Okay, let's say. And search for Isopoda PDF. So, like, get the name of your favorite group and search for images with the search string PDF in it. So I just search with isopoda.pdf in Google Images, and I get this, like one of the many images from PDFs, which is obviously the format for scientific research about isopods. Now, before you start to attempt spec creatures, try to draw one of them. Well, let's do it together. Try to draw one of them. You will notice it's actually really hard. D1 looks cool, says Unknown. Okay, let's do D. Like, you noticed it's not very easy to do this. Well, I'm just going to draw and show it to you later. And then you realize it's actually really hard to like properly, like, there's so much complexity to even the simplest animals. People are talking about quantum mechanics and stuff. I mean, my understanding of life is basically like C.S. Lewis' understanding of life without necessarily a Christian formatting, but I don't think even that hurts. So this is my D isopod. Just a very simple sketch. But then, especially with arthropods, you get to see how segments live, how segments work. So, like, you can change it. So maybe from this sort of creature, you can get to something like, I'm just really fast bowling here, okay? But you can like learn the way their bodies are organized and create your own versions, which are actually less creative than anything nature comes up with. But still, that's how Spec Evo works. So, like, I first drew this, then I came up with like something more like a back swimmer. Don't know if it can work, but so this is like a way you can do spec evo with arthropods. What a nice little gentleman, says Cauliflower. Yes. Brother Man says, I love it. Thank you. Brother Man says, can I learn drawing solely by doing? My brother in Christ, you only learn with doing. Forget theory, forget reading. You only learn as your hand works. Panwan Dan says, do you think humans will still be around in the next 100,000 or even a million years, given our current situation? Well, I mean, first of all, I must stress that All Tomorrows is an allegorical work. I did not write it as a hard science fiction kind of thing. I think many premises in the book are just unworkable. But in 100,000 years, I think there will still be humans or human-like beings around. But our civilization, I may not live that long. But still, it's very hard to like get all humans extinct, you know? Even with like nuclear war or like the worst catastrophe, humans are very resilient. Now, civilization is all, on the other hand, it's more fragile and it's easier to destroy. I predict that there will be like the end of Rome. There will be like end of Rome style dark ages, or like the Bronze Age collapse styles of dark ages, 6 or 8 more times, and humanity will persist. Remember, the world is a huge place. There could still be like one tribe of people living in Patagonia or the Amazon or somewhere in Siberia, and that's all it takes. People will survive. The rest of the world can go to hell. But I think the only thing that can like destroy humanity is something like a super volcano or like the comet which drove dinosaurs extinct. It would need to hit everything else just as hard. I don't think humans are fragile at all. So in a million years, there could be human-like things, but maybe they have this sort of racial characteristics that you can't even predict. I mean, it would be another ethnicity, totally new ethnicity. And they would be survivors of like, I don't know, 2 or 3 more civilizational collapses. Himezime Uwu says, can a creature evolve part of its body into a gun, but not like a pistol ship or archer fish, like a part that shoots a high velocity projectile? There needs to be a really good payoff. And I have drawn many creatures like that, by the way. I hope you know, but like, I'm just opening those pictures for you now. So I had, termites have this gland on their heads, and they use that to squirt acid. So I designed this like termite rifle in scale with an AR-15 here. You just cradle it and squeeze it, and it just shoots acid really far. And there was also an assassin bug designed with, and this just looks cool. It's not very realistic. But here's a wheel bug that's like a wheel lock pistol, and it's basically a big bug held upside down, and the proboscis just shoots Chagas disease poison and just shoots people. Can you see the screen, or is it gone? Okay, it's back. Good. So I designed creatures like this. Problem is, these are all like glorified super soakers. They just shoot a liquid projectile. I think the most likely way to evolve a biological gun would be an animal evolving basically an ovipositor that shoots its eggs into a distance. So it's like shooting eggs. And maybe some eggs are sterile and dense and they can work like bullets. But I think naturally this is very difficult to evolve. It has evolved with plants. And there are plants that just go pot and like they shoot their seeds like really rapidly. Maybe not as fast as a gun, but still, it can like sting you if they hurt you. And yes, there are snails that shoot, I think, sex darts, so like harpoon like crystals that help them fertilize each other. But something with the energy of an actual bullet, I think it would need to be bioengineered. And even then, it would be a very baroque solution. If you got the technology to turn an animal into an actual gun, you can use that technology in a far easier manner to just make a real fucking gun. So that's that. But I think for just like fiction, science fiction, or like body horror, or just for like the sheer joy of drawing, this is a very nice concept. The living gun. Unknown has to go. See you later, he or she says. Well, goodbye, unknown. And everybody says, see ya. Cheers. Cauliflower says, have you ever collected fossils? No. As far there are not many accessible fossil deposits near where I live. Closest I gotten was collecting snail shells. So there. Ask some more questions. I'm just licking the salt from my cucumber plate. Oh. Nothing can beat the joy of simply licking wet salt in a plastic pan. Oh. Perfection. Nearly an hour. Bagea says, what do you think about horseshoe crabs? I've seen a few live ones in my holidays last week. You're very lucky. I like them. I have never seen one in the wild. They're really cool, and I think there's something really special about interacting with an animal that's been around for so long and that still has nevertheless such a strange body plan. So lucky you. I think they're neat. Apple of Adam and Eve says, Selamun alaikum, alaikum salam. Pan Wan Dan says, would you like to share your thoughts about free will versus a deterministic world? I have no idea. I mean, both of these ideas, they can't really be overruled by the other. You can say, well, I can drop this pen here. I can drop this pen here. But then the deterministic view can says, well, that's what you would have done. How can you, like, you can't argue against that. But then free will says, no, I can actually pick up the mouse instead of the pen. Haha. Or I can do like this all of a sudden. You can't beat me. But then the determinist could say, well, that was programmed into your list of options. But I think the world has randomness built into it. And that's why I think, like, through the sheer existence of randomness, even in things like liquid height, like fluid dynamics and stuff, like the sheer, you can't really know where a particle is at any given point. I mean, you can approximate it, but you can never really know. And I think the very existence of this chaotic randomness itself, I think it leads me to believe that determinism is not that deterministic when you get to the bottom of it. Conor Munro Flagan says, what do you think about the prehistoric planet Lightroom show in London? I've seen it, I've heard of it. My good friend Darren Naish is a consultant with it. They basically have this like huge room lined with big LED screens, and they play this movie in it, and it feels like you're underwater with a lot of these prehistoric marine reptiles. I think it must be wonderful. Jumpy Jolty says, I have to go to bed. Have a great day. Well, to you too. Cheers. You were my first commenter today, so yeah. Have a nice one. Cauliflower says, there actually really deserve fossil deposits around Istanbul. Küçükçeşmece Formation is well known for its diverse mammal fauna, and there are tons of invertebrates around Marmara. True. I just haven't gotten into it. And I think you are like far more, like, you're better, way better than me as a fossil hunter, that's for sure. Berat Guitar says, how can you know a design you created is good after creating stuff for so many years? You will translate this when you watch it later. I'm sorry for this is an English language show. Good question. Something just clicks, and it's beyond just making a good design. It's also got to do with like aesthetics as a whole. I think a good way to go about this would be understanding negative space. And imagine this is our paper, okay? When I am drawing, my sense of aesthetics is determined by the paper itself. There's the paper. So if I'm drawing, I don't know, like a snake, I don't draw it here. I draw it so. So when I do this, like this distance, like this is like sort of like its placement in the paper itself. It conducts the design. Then you start having these accidents. For example, this tail was bent, so I actually extend it and make it like as if it's like the ground or like a pedestal here. And this was the like bad snake design. So I integrate that into the whole thing. And then I just like exaggerate these waves. And when I do this, there's a blank space here. So maybe an eye here. Then I want the thickness to be more congruent. So like the drawing itself dictates its own formation. And that's a great thing. And then there's a place at which you say, okay, I've done enough. I should stop so that I don't get overkill. And like these little design details create themselves. Like these things, like this is a very crude example, and I'm a bit sleepy, so like bear with me. But so it's like this, but you gotta know when to stop. You gotta start by thinking about negative space and thinking about the basic form of the thing, and then you got to stop when you got to know when to stop. And I think these two great actions can help you nail down a good design. Aksjak says, draw a perfect circle. I can't. Can I show you 3 of my new drawings, says Blake Richardson. Yeah, send them to me on Twitter. Berat Guitar says, thank you. My pleasure. Popular says, what got you to start putting the moon in your drawing? It feels like a signature Cosman feature. Well, I don't know. Like, once again, I feel that the drawing needs like an eye, so to speak. So it started happening. This is not a perfect circle. Oh, God, an hour deep. I'm a bit sleepy tonight, guys. Let's have a few last questions. And if you're watching the replay gang, if you're in the replay gang, this is the time you should start thinking about maybe going to Patreon and putting your money where your heart is. Let's get some last questions. When the tea is done and the soda is done, I'll call it a night. Just a short 1 hour stream tonight. Michkin says, any plans for DinoCon? Yes, I'll be a vendor there. You watch the earlier parts of this stream and my previous 2 streams. I'll be selling watercolors, surreal art, dinosaur themed surreal art. I'll be selling a lot of postcards. I will sign them for you. And I will also be selling all tomorrow's originals. 815 says, draw an avant-garde kitten. All right. This is a client company for my day job, Kumport, which means sand port, because it started out as like Turkey's biggest sand exporting maritime establishment. Thing is, this word now means something else in American slang. So yeah, it's where they ship out all the liquids. Underlock says, I study molecular biology in the UK. Want to do an astrobiology internship next summer. Do you have any people that you know? I don't actually. I don't know anybody directly. I used to know some astrobiologists through a science fiction conference, but that was 10 years ago. Underlock and Berat Guitar call me Cem. My real name is Cevdet Mehmet Kösemen. That's C.M. Kozeman. It's not Cem, which is another name. No, my name is Cevdet or Mehmet. Okay, let's do an avant-garde cat. I don't know how you can do an avant-garde cat, but oh no, it looks too alone now out here in the corner. Let's give it some toys and shit. Let's actually put another kitten here, but they're both like they were born 2 hours ago and they're just shit. Yeah, avant-garde kittens. Yeah, stamp sealed and approved. Calliope Crane says these look like me. Maybe. I'm just tired. They're siblings. Yes, they're both Blas siblings. And okay, nobody deserves to be without a parent. Oh God, there's some thunder in the background. I hope we get rain tonight. So I'm gonna draw a mommy cat here. Just keeping watch over them, okay? And then blah. Okay, done with these. Nobody deserves to grow up without a mother. Did you hear the? Can you hear the thunder? Or is it being filtered out? I don't know. But sounds like a great thunderstorm is coming, and I'm gonna sleep so smoothly tonight. Okay. Berat Guitar asks, this is a great question, okay. Politically and financially, prospects in Turkey are dire. Do you have any advice for a 17-year-old Turkish guy? I would say look at how your family's fortunes are. If your parents can afford an education for you overseas, then pursue it. Oh, that was a thunder. Did you see that? So if your parents can afford education for you overseas, then use this privilege. If they can afford, and this is going to sound very like cut and dry and basic, but if they can afford a house for you, a roof over your head, that's also very important because not many people can do that. And it's going to be impossible to afford a house in the future. Other than that, if you know what you want to study, pursue your studies in the best place that you can attain. But at the same time, paradoxically, don't panic. You won't be doomed if you can't get to the best college. Or maybe you won't be doomed if you're not certain about what you want to do right now. And 17 is a very young age to commit to any line of study. But at the same time, know that, like your generation, like my generation had like a more solid sense of certainty growing up. And sadly, you guys, you will have to maybe recreate society itself entirely, or save it, or purge it. Oh, that was a nice one. Like, if you watch my previous streams, I was speaking a different tune until like a year ago or something. And I would always say Turkey, despite everything, is a great country. The lifestyle has this human side that really they don't have in Europe or the States. But in the present day, I will say, if you can, and if you know what to do, try to do this overseas first, outside of Turkey. You can always come back in a decade or two. Who knows? I mean, kim öle kim kala 20 yıla. But yes, the rest of the world, like we in Turkey, you're living life in ultra hard mode, and nobody deserves that. So if you got the means and the right to pursue an education overseas, do it. I don't know if this means anything. Also, generally, if you're 17, try to experiment with maybe you want to be an artist, try that. Maybe you want to learn another language, try that. You want to pick up a sport, like, don't do drugs, but try to experiment with as many potential hobbies or vocations or areas of study as you can, because this is a chapter in your life in which you must speciate and branch out. Also, I know it as a guy. Oh, big thunder tonight. As a guy, don't get too caught up in like dating drama and man mature later. Don't be in a rush to like hook up with a girlfriend and shit. At this age, it's very hard. Don't get caught up in this disgusting world of friends who are secretly enemies. Don't move in groups of more than 2 or 3 people. Have closer and fewer friends. And really, in Turkey, it's a national psychosis to have always work around in groups. Oh, these people, those people, what are they doing? Like, fuck that. That's for losers. Don't judge your life by what other people, especially of your age, think. Don't try not to appeal to them. Apple of Adam and Eve says you should look at Ultra Kill or Heaven Pierce Her or Hakita. These are all animes, I think, but I don't know. Gnome's Child says the ATMs. B says What are your thoughts on drugs? I feel really alienated because it seems everybody in my age are, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, look, I have known people online who fucked up their lives with addiction. They ruined their potential futures. Addiction is a. We spoke about the human spirit or consciousness permeating life, okay? But addiction is one of these things which counterfactually convince you that, yeah, maybe everything is chemicals. You can't break out of it. This day and age, people are crazy. Like young people are crazy with drugs. It's become far more widespread. I've there's different ways to do drugs too. Like when I was younger, drug addiction still was a thing, but it was more of a social thing. You know, there would be like people rolling weed, or sometimes there would be like extreme guys who would do cocaine or ecstasy or shit. And it's one thing to be like a bunch of lads and drop ecstasy when you go to the disco, but now in this day and age, there are opioid addictions or harder stuff that people indulge by themselves, and it's just extremely self-destructive. I would say about these drugs, if you're going to lose any friends about drugs, lose them. Fuck them. And not literally, like screw, I mean, not literally. You're better off without them. When I was young, many guys did drugs to look cool and get more girls. I was a slicker customer than them all. I could talk my way into bed. But yeah, I mean, like some people use drugs to lower their inhibitions because they think they will be cooler. And this does get some sort of Dunning-Kruger effect kind of success. That is to say, yes, I mean, if you're a stoner when you're 17, or if you do coke when you're in your 20s, you do meet like sexier people, or like you kind of do score with the opposite sex sometimes. But the people you land in bed are just dumb and they're just shit. You don't need that. You don't need that. None of you need that shit. I'll be really boring. I don't even like properly drink alcohol, to be honest. And in my society, it was like seen as a sign of like, if you have to be drinking all the time because it shows you're secular. You're not a religious bumpkin like those people who vote for the AKP. But it's just boring and expensive and tiresome to get drunk all the time. I don't want that. Even drinks, I think they're just best enjoyed very sparingly and with a good meal or with the company of friends. And this day and age, I know I sound like an old millennial just yapping, and I can't escape that fate. But it's crazy how far widespread drugs have become. Don't associate with people who do drugs. They will all be worse off. Kuro Minami says, you are right, drinking alone sucks. Yeah, drinking alone. Like marijuana's become legalized, okay? God, this is going to be like really boring. But someone needs to say it. I farted. Okay. Marijuana has become legalized. Yes, like if you put a rat in a cage and give it weed, yes, the rat will live for long and it won't die, it won't be poisoned. But weed has got this shitty stoner culture. These guys, and mostly guys, to be honest, standing around doing nothing, wasting their youth, wasting their life. It's a great way for pacification and social control. Like I remember I was like 19 or 20. I just come back from the United States. I was studying there. I came back. I I I, I went to a nightclub. I met up with this gang of people who were like, there was like a weed guy among them. This was a guy who had like a constant supply of weed. He wasn't a drug dealer, but he always smoked weed. I don't know. I went to these guys' house with like a bunch of people because that's what people did before the internet. You met in a club, you listened to music, and you went to each other's houses. And then this guy was crazy. I mean, it was crazy as an adventure because, like, just listen to how this goes, okay? This was like a stoner house, and they had covered the entire living room of the house with beds, with mattresses, bed mattresses. So it was like one enormous bed in the living room. You had to take your socks and like shoes off, roll around. You couldn't even walk. Of course, they had like a couple of cats. So it was just cats, bed, weed, and everybody smoking around. And of course, there would be girls too, because that's cool. Like this is like designated in communities like this. There's always this like rapper girls. Let me rap this for you here. It's a social thing. So, like, of course, everybody secretly wants to sleep with the rapper girls. So it's like a bunch of people smoking weed and just. I mean, I stayed there for like until the next day, and the next day I fled. But it was like a wild adventure. But I don't think I'd like to live that way. It's just. I mean, there was no shortage to drama. Gnome's Child says, how about uppers like coke or methamphetamine? You can be quite productive. No, it's a false high. I mean, if you're a guy, coke decreases your sexual potency. No. Look, your body is not a fucking machine. You need to be down sometimes. You need to sleep. You need to rest. You need days where you don't do anything. Like, I don't stream all the time. I have these streams, like once every 3 weeks. You're not on a tap. You're not a fucking tap. You can't be on all the time. You can't have creativity and productivity on tap. If you're taking drugs to do it, don't. Just rest. Get 8 hours of sleep. Popular says, yes, Stephen King's Coke era novels aren't. Yeah, he was going crazy. Stephen King is a weird guy in general. Fossilized Fool says, I would probably be willing to try it if it wasn't. You're not missing out on anything. Pre-workout, Blake Richardson says, you take ketamine before working out? No, god damn it. Jeran Chiman says, look, one of the few ladies in the chat says, coke harms the heart for sure. No. Very based response, Jeran. Thank you. Look, this is not like the boring ass like parent advisory channel, but Berat Guitar says, do you have any hope? Man, this hits hard. I do. Like, when the boomer generation dies, I think the economic condition will ease up for everybody around the world, because like right now I think boomers hoard, and are wasting like 70% of all wealth on the planet in terms of housing, in terms of money. Like, they are our parents and grandparents, but after they die, everybody else will breathe a sigh of relief because populations aren't increasing steeply. So like all this money is being hoarded by one generation. After they die, there will be redistribution. They also boomers also ruined Turkey for sure. They ruined the states. They ruined in the entire Western civilization has been fucked over by boomers. They're the only generation that says like one rule for me but not for thee. Or in Turkish, they're the fucking generation who says benden sonra kıyamet, which is to say after me the deluge. I don't care. You see? It's coming. Oh God. This is cozy. Perfect timing. I am the hero. There is nobody to save you than me. Man, I mean, I don't know your personal conditions, but I'm not gonna lie. If your family has some advantages or privilege, use it. But also be like, save money. Here's the one advice I can give to any young person. Imagine, okay, especially if you're a Turkish citizen, if you got 3 lira, yes, you got 5 lira, spend 2, save 3. Out of the 3, 1/3 invest in US dollars, 1/3 invest in Swiss francs. So Switzerland is a country whose economy has been stable for as long as there have been records. They didn't go into any world wars. So the Swiss franc is a really nice currency for savings. And get gold with the other third, but get the XAU type of gold. It's like this one. There's different gold investments, and go get it from a bank, by the way. I mean, some people say, oh, you get the gold spot for the US dollar, which is called XAU. So XAU, Swiss francs, US dollars. Okay, you're gonna save up. Don't spend exorbitantly at all. Like, I will show you, this is my telephone. This is my telephone. Save, save, save. Don't buy clothes. Don't eat outside. Don't drink alcohol. That shit costs a long. That shit costs a lot. Save, save, save, save, save. You will need it later. Save 60% of what you earn and then spend the rest. Don't spend money for social occasions. That's something that losers like to do, especially in our part of the world. This is not investment advice, says somebody. No, this is fucking investment advice. This is fucking advice. You will not fail if you follow my advice. Save, don't overspend, don't spend for social occasions. Be thrifty and do your savings in Swiss francs, US dollar gold spot, and US dollars. That's it. Don't deal with stocks, cryptocurrencies. Those are for like either extremely lucky people, but you can make a living out of them. So yeah. because a storm is coming. You gotta save up, wisen up, save up. And as the Turkish saying goes, ayağını yorganına göre uzat. Stretch your legs to fit your bed sheets, not the other way around. Because if you do that, you'll be sleeping in a bed of procrustes. Do you know that metaphor? Go look it up. The bed of procrustes. Kuro Minami says, haha. Ozzy says, very simple. Save until you're 30. Wonderful rainy weather. It started raining now. Nice. Koç Ekonomi 101 says, it's just... Like once you start enjoying, once you start to derive joy from saving money, you'll be surprised how quickly it accumulates. And this is a nice trick, by the way. Like another nice trick. If you go outside and you're walking around and you have to eat outside. Now, eating outside costs an arm and a leg. Go to a restaurant that does half portions. Like today, I had to take care of some errands. And I had to eat outside. I had half a portion of rice, half a portion of yogurt. That's it. Yarım porsiyon. What is your opinion on Borsa İst, says Berat, which is the Turkish stock market? No, fucking no. No. It's the house always wins. It's always a gamble. As a rule, like stocks, you can't get rich from stocks. Or rather still, the people who get rich from stocks already have millions. They have tens of millions. They invest millions. And with that, they get some sort of leverage. But if you ever go into stocks, make sure it's with... Oh God, I'm sounding like such a boomer. But if you ever go into stocks, make sure it's with an amount of money you can afford to lose. All right, everyone, an hour and a half, and this was nice life advice, but my family is under the impression that I'm a bio major to be a doctor because education failed people on evolution and ecology. Well, families always place high hopes on kids. Can humans metamorphosize like they do in All Tomorrows? No. I mean, you metamorphose once, and that's when you're in your mother's belly. B says, I wouldn't want to stretch my bed sheets so they're long enough for my legs. I'd be uncomfortable. You get the metaphor. Don't split hairs. Falcarius says, I minorly disappointed my family by going into conservation and ecology. Sounds like live within your means. It's easier said than done. And best of luck. There are some, I think, majors which are, if your family is paying for your college, or if you got student loans, like I would never study art, for example, or philosophy. or humanities. Not because those things are bad per se, but they're just class markers. And if you're passionate about art, you would learn more by your own studies, anyways. Blake Richardson says, I'm going to the gym today. Should I do shoulders or arms? Do shoulders. It's your core constitution. 40 people watching my crusty investment and life advice. JD says, in the United States, they're banning high altitude cruising for airplanes because the exhausts are evil chemtrails. If this is true, it's hilarious. Kuro Minami says, wait, back to that chemtrail ban. Wait. Is it true? Let's see. 8 states in the US seek to outlaw chemtrails even though they aren't real. I'm not going to go too deeply into this, but imagine if you had the same law, but it was banning airplane flights to prevent greenhouse gases. The same people would be crazy. They would be incandescent with rage. Strange. Like I always say, in Turkey, we are 20 years ahead of the States. You're just starting to experience what we've been living with for the last 20 years. But you're also a world empire, so it's going to crash harder. Best of luck to you. Gnome's Child says, imagine if people cared as much about climate change as they did about chemtrails. I don't know. Climate change also, I think, has its own parasitical bureaucracy. And it's a different sort of stupidity. Like the whole carbon credit deal, it's just like a game with money. It's just a tax by another name. You know, the carbon credits, they do this like the only way, if you want to combat climate change, the only way it could have been done is just to ban no more factories, closing them down. Or only alternate, if your license plate ends with an odd number, you only get to drive on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If it has an even number, on the other days. Boom! Just one law, cut all the emissions by half. Boom! We're not producing plastics anymore. That factory is closed. Boom! They could do it. They did it with COVID. Boom! You can't go outside your house for 2 years. You can't do it with climate change. Which leads me to believe one of those two was probably fake. Adam of Apple and Eve says, let's talk in Turkish. My English isn't good. Do not do this or I will block you. In Mexico City, they tried the car license thing. Once again, like, or there's a law that says that no more appliances produced for 5 years. We're freezing production of like appliances or cars. that could like. Plus, also in terms of climate, like the most polluting countries are China and India, followed by the US. It's like you can't really put the genie into the bottle. All right, almost 2 hours. The storm is brewing. I'm getting sleepy. 43 people watching. I'm going to the good night phase of my stream now. So before we say, let's individually say good night to everybody. So if you didn't say so in the beginning, where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from? And then I'm going to like, boom, sleep. Good night, good night, good night. JD is writing from the grave. Good night to JD in the grave. That's dark. Fossilized Fool. Good night to the US. Mishkin is good night to to Iceland. All right. Good night, Kurominami. Good night, Lost. This stream was a blast. Good night to Cauliflower in Kocaeli. Good night to Ensar in Turkey. Good night to Ethan in South Africa. Good night to Kurominami in Turkey too. Good night to Popular in San Diego. Good night to B in Germany. Good night to Luxaterna. Good night to Alper Yetim. İyi geceler. Good night to Calliope Crane. Good night to Berat in Maslak. Good night. The rain must hit it differently over there. Good night to Lost from Denizli. Good night to Nameless Person from Köln. Good night to Ed in Mexico. Good night to Falcarius in Utah. Now, Mormons are so cool. One of my favorite YouTubers is a Mormon, Clint's Reptiles. Clint Lairlow. He's a really cool guy. You guys have it so good. Celts for the win. Berat Guitar says, thanks for the advice, Cevdet abi. My pleasure. Good night to 815 in Minneapolis. Good night to Avantgarde in Meow Kittens and everything. It's a nice storm. I'm going to fall asleep. Okay, look at the cats. Look at the freaking cats. They're so small and meat-like. They are just so black. Good night and black. Black. Black.